This is Woodland Scenic's town and factory building set, all in N scale. Comes with 13 different buildings. A lot of little accessory pieces. Really, it's designed for their scenic ridge layout, but you don't have to use it for that. They're somehow associated or made the same as the DPM models. Being N scale, they can be a little fidgety to work with. However, you do get 13 buildings, and it's a pretty good value. Drives you a little bit crazy that you have to do so much detail in so many small parts, but if you take your time, you can end up with a fairly nice set of buildings. 13 of them makes a nice little town. Inside the box you'll find each of the buildings comes in its own individual packet. Here I've laid out 3. Each one is pretty complete. Haven't found any missing pieces. Because they are individually wrapped in their little plastic bags, it's easy to keep them separate, and you can just work on one building at a time and slowly proceed. They recommend that you spray paint the building kits, but I don't have the room which would allow me to properly spray paint them, so I do use brush on acrylic paints. It takes a little bit of time. In fact, the average time investment in each building, allowing for the paints to dry and using different colors, is about 6 to 8 hours to do a finished building. But if you want to get started and have a complete city or town, this is a good purchase. I think the value is pretty good. The quality is not like you would find with some of your larger scales, because you are working in N scale, so you got to fuss with them a little bit, but as long as you're willing to sand them, file them, follow the instructions pretty clearly, you will end up with a nice looking little building when you're all done. And when all of them are done, you'll have a nice little town or city. Here's what the pieces look like after you clip them off and prepared them, laid them out. You clip them edges clean using the flat edge snippers up there in the left corner of the image. Getting ready for the next process, which is to sand the edges square and clean, and then they'll be ready for painting. This is my little work surface. You can see some of my tools, the snippers, the scissors, of course my paint brushes, bottles of paint. Ruler always helps, tweezers come in handy. Here's 2 of the buildings after they've been assembled and painted. Of course, you can choose any color of paint you want. I try to go for the brighter colors. The sort of suggested colors of Woodland Scenics are more soft grays and tans, very little bright colors, but I've decided to go for the bolder, more colorful look. On the left is the theater. It's not really complete with its accessories yet. I think it has an awning to go on out in front, and it has some rooftop accessories to go on it. On the right, they call it a drugstore, a corner drugstore. I think I'm going to try and call it a hardware store. They've provided a lot of decals that you can put on the front and the sides of the buildings and the windows, so you can fashion them into whatever you want. But you can see, after you do take the time and you assemble them, remember this is N scale, so they're really pretty small, but they come out looking quite nice, I think.